Thank you so much.
We can start now, Vinod ji. विनोद जी आप म्यूट में हैं क्या?
Can we start?
Yes, please.
What did they? What did Shiva?
We can start.
Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I, Vinod Haritwal, CEO and Director of the company, welcome all to the 62nd Annual General Meeting of the members of the company. As permitted by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs and SEBI, this annual general meeting is being held through video conferencing. The shareholders have been provided the facility to join the meeting through video conferencing and for e-voting through a platform provided by CDSL. Some shareholders have registered their request to speak at the meeting. They will be provided an opportunity to speak during the question answer session. Before proceeding further, I would like to draw your attention to certain points regarding the participation in this meeting. The facility of joining the meeting through video conferencing is made available to members on first come, first served basis. All the members joining this meeting should by default be in mute mode to avoid any background noise disturbance and to ensure smooth and seamless conduct of meeting. In compliance with the MCA and SEBI circulars, notice of meeting along with the annual report for the financial year 2019-20 was sent through email to all those members whose email addresses were registered with the company or depository participants. The same is also available on the website of the company and on the website of BSE. The registers as required under the Companies Act and all documents referred to in the notice are available for inspection electronically during the AGM. Members seeking to inspect such documents can write to the Company Secretary of the company. Proceedings of the meeting will be recorded and made available on the website of the company. Live streaming of this meeting is being telecast on the CDSL website. I now request Mr. Umesh More, Chairman of the company, to chair and conduct the proceedings of the meeting. Over to Mr. More.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I, Umesh Kumar More, Chairman, am attending the meeting from Dubai. Welcome to the 62nd Annual General Meeting of Piramal Wire Limited, being held through video conferencing on 29 September 2020 at 3 p.m. IST. I was informed that the required quorum for the AGM is present. I call the meeting to order. Since the meeting is being held by video conference, the provision of proxies is not applicable. May I now request Mr. Neeraj More to conduct the proceedings of the meeting on my behalf. In case there is an interruption in his connectivity, I authorize Mr. Vinod Haritwal to conduct the proceedings till Mr. Neeraj More's connection is restored. Mr. Neeraj More.
Good afternoon, ladies. From Dubai. Welcome to the 62nd Annual General Meeting of Grower & Weil India Limited. Let me now introduce the directors attending this meeting and announce the locations. Mr. Umesh Kumar More, Chairman of the company, attending this meeting from Dubai. Mr. Rohit Kumar More, Executive Director of the company, attending this meeting from Pune. Mr. Vinod Haritwal, CEO and Director of the company, attending from the registered office at Mumbai. Mr. Suresh Parekh, Independent Director, is attending meeting from Ambi Valley near Pune. Independent Directors, Mr. Tarun Govil, Ms. Aarti Shah, and Ms. Prerna Goradia are attending this meeting from Mumbai. Mr. Kiran Malapur, representative of our statutory auditor firm, Messrs. SCA and Associates, and Mr. Mahesh Soni, representative of secretarial auditor, Messrs. GMJ and Associates, and scrutinizer for e-voting process are also attending meeting from Mumbai. Mr. Gurendra Gulati, CFO, Mr. Chintan Gandhi, Company Secretary, and Mr. Yogesh Samath, Chief Operating Officer, are attending this meeting from our registered office in Mumbai. Since the notice of the AGM, Director's Report, and the accounts are already circulated to all members, with your permission, I will take the notice of the meeting as read. As the report of the statutory auditors and secretarial auditors do not contain any qualifications or adverse remarks, I take them as read. Since the meeting is being held through video conferencing and all resolutions mentioned in the notice have already been put to vote through remote e-voting and facility of electronic voting is also available during the meeting, the process of proposing and seconding the resolution is not applicable. As per the notice of the meeting, the following business needs to be considered at the meeting. Ordinary business. Number 1, as an ordinary resolution, adoption and approval of the standalone and consolidated financial statements of the company for the financial year ended 31st March 2020, together with the reports of the Board of Directors and auditors thereon. As an ordinary resolution, confirm payments of interim dividend of rupees 50 paisa per equity share of rupee 1 each, that is 50% for the financial year 2019-20. Third item, as an ordinary resolution, appointment of Mr. Vinod Haritwal, DIN 0012862, who retires by rotation and being eligible offers himself for reappointment. Under the special business, as a special resolution, reappointment of Mr. Umesh Kumar More, DIN 001126662, as whole-time director of the company, designated as chairman. Second one is appointment of Dr. Prerna Sonthalia Goradia, DIN 087566246, as independent director. In ratification in remuneration of cost auditors for the financial year ending 31st March 2021. I declare that I'm interested in resolution number 4 regarding appointment of Mr. Umesh Kumar Moore as a whole-time director of the company. And for that, Bhartwal will be the chairman of the meeting. The company has provided remote facility to all the members to exercise their right to vote on all the resolutions mentioned in the notice of 62nd AGM, which began on Saturday, September 26th, 2020 at 10 a.m. and ended on Monday, September 28th, 2020 at 5 p.m. Many have voted. Members who are attending this meeting through video conferencing and did not vote earlier through remote e-voting may vote through e-voting system available during the AGM. The same is already open and will continue till 15 minutes post the conclusion of the meeting. Members may visit the e-voting page of CDSL's e-voting website and cast their votes. The board has appointed Messrs. GMJ and Associates, firm of practicing company secretary, to act as a scrutinizer to scrutinize the voting during the AGM by electronic mode and remote e-voting process, and to submit the consolidated results on voting. The chairman will announce the results based on the report of the scrutinizer, and the same will be posted on the website of the company and BSE Limited. May I now invite the shareholders who have registered their names as speakers at the meeting to share their views and ask questions, if any. Answers to the question and management response will be given all together after all speakers have finished speaking. Before proceeding further, I would like to draw your attention to certain points regarding the participation in this question answer session. During the question answer session, name of the shareholder who have registered themselves as speakers will be announced and will be unmuted by the host of the meeting one by one. The concerned shareholder may express his or her view and ask questions. Please note that each speaker will be allotted 3 minutes. All shareholders are requested to adhere to this time limit to ensure effective and meaningful conduct of meeting and to provide equal opportunity to all the speaker shareholders to present their views. Speaker shareholders are requested to click the audio and video button while speaking. If you are unable to connect or face any difficulties in joining, you may switch off your camera and speak through audio mode alone. If there is any connectivity problem at the speaker end, we will invite the next speaker to speak. After all the speakers have finished, we will once again give a chance to the left out speakers to come back and speak. If any speaker shareholder is unavailable at the time of announcement of the name, his or her chance will be lost and we will invite the next speaker. Speaker shareholders are requested to minimize background noises to avoid any disturbance. Moderator, please announce the name of the first speaker shareholder, Mr. Mrs. and unmute him or her.
First speaker is Mr. Bimal Kumar Agarwal.
So Mr. Bimal Kumar Agrawal has not joined the meeting.
Okay, then we move on. The second speaker is Yusuf Rangwala. Do we have Mr. Yusuf Rangwala attending?
Yes, sir. Just give me.
If we are having difficulty connecting with him, we can go to the next speaker and then try Mr. Rangwala.
This is we are facing a difficulties to connect Mr. Yusuf Rangwala because he has joined with the cell phone. We are facing a one issue here. Just give me a minute, or we can proceed to next speaker.
So we can go to the next speaker, that is Mr. Gautam Tiwari.
Yeah, Mr. Gautam. Hello, Mr. Gautam.
Sir,
Now you can speak, sir.
sir. Honorable, very honorable Chairman, sir. My eminent board of directors, our Grower and Well team, and fellow shareholders. Good afternoon to all of you, sir. Sir, in fact, I'm Gautam Tiwari as announced, and I'm a member of your company from day one and attending this meeting from Mumbai. Sir, at the outset, I would like to really thank our MD, CEO, CFO, CS, and the full secretarial and finance team, along with the entire management of the company, for giving excellent results year on year, not only this year on year, despite this year dreaded corona pandemic disease, which is a situation worldwide. Yes, sir. Uh, I would really also like to thank our company that because our company has really worked very hard in identifying the areas and projects for CSR activities which are really beneficial to the public at large. सर हम आपके साथ में बहुत सालों से अटैच्ड हैं और बहुत खुशी है कि आपने हमेशा हमेशा शेयर होल्डर का ध्यान रखा है स्पेशली उमेश मोर्जी साहब नीरज मोर्जी साहब और I would really like to welcome the appointment and reappointment of our directors on board and wish them a good luck and a bright future in the days to come for company along with theirs. Sir, I would really like to thank our secretarial team, especially Chintan Gandhi, for giving a very good and a very noble, very sincere, hardworking. He is very much soft-spoken and giving a very classic service, very valuable service all these years through his investor care and investor mode areas. Sir, for which we are thankful. Because of him, we have been able to attend today's AGM because we got the link in time and we were given the link, and always he kept on asking us whether we have really got the link or not. Sir, I have been in support. Sir, I would like to know only very small few things, sir. Whether if we have retrenched any employee from our company due to COVID, and if at all any of our employees have been affected by COVID, and if at all yes, how many are they and what is their condition as it stands now, sir? Hello, sir. Gautam Tiwari here, sir.
Yes, Gautam. Now, did you completed your question? So now the sir will speak.
Yes, sir. I'm in support of you.
Your question has been completed.
Sir, Gautam Tiwari, sir, can you take me after some time, sir? Can you take me after some time? Hello, sir. Hello. Sir, can you listen to me?
Yes, sir. We can listen to you. Please complete your questions.
Yes, sir. It's only I would like to know how, if at all, any employee got COVID and what is their condition now. And sir, I wish you all the best. I'm in support of you, and I shall be in support of you. And we wish you a very long, happy, joyous, enchanting life and healthy, wealthy life all the days, and all in bright, shining future to all of you. And wish you a very ब्राइट फ्यूचर एंड सर सभी त्योहारों की शुभकामनाओं के साथ धन्यवाद थैंक यू वेरी मच थैंक यू वेरी मच
Thank you, Mr. Tiwari. The next shareholder is Mr. Vinod Agarwal.
So Mr. Vinod Agrawal, he is not joined the meeting.
Okay, then let's move on to the next shareholder, who is Mr. Dhaneshwar Bhagat. Is Mr. Bhagat with
Mr.
us?
Bhagat is also not joined the meeting.
Okay, then let's go to the next shareholder. That's Mr. Dinesh Bhatia. Is Mr. Bhatia with us?
Yes, sir. Mr. Dinesh Bhatia is also not there.
Okay, next one is Mr. Vaibhav Barjatia.
Hello, Mr. Vaibhav.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah,
Can you hear me, sir?
yes, sir. We
Yeah.
can hear you. Now you can ask him.
Yeah, thanks a lot for providing the opportunity, and I would like to congratulate the management for really managing the company in a conservative way, and our balance sheet speaks for itself. So I have already submitted my list of questions through email. Do you have access to those questions right now in front of you, or should I just repeat?
It will be good if you can repeat so that other shareholders can also know.
Okay, sure. So I will just quickly repeat those questions. First four questions on the surface chemical electroplating business. Firstly, who are the key competitors in this business, and what is it that the company's competitive advantage is in this business? Second, is what are the key barriers for a customer to shift from one vendor to another in surface chemical and electroplating business? And within this vertical, what is our percentage of revenue from automotive segment? That was the third question. And lastly, on this business, if you can comment on the threat that electric vehicles evolution towards electric vehicle pose, particularly in the auto vertical within this segment. So these were on our surface chemical business. On the real estate business, first question is, what is the total potential of development of Kandivali property with and without TDR? I understand that to fully develop property we might need to acquire some TDR. So great if you can just give us the number with and without TDR. Secondly, what we have some land in Chembur. If you can help us understand what is the market value and the plan to monetize the same. Lastly, again on real estate business, we have some 31% stake, I think, in Pune Bottling Company, which has a good land bank in Pune. So great if you can just provide the your assessment of value of that land, and again the plan to monetize this land. So this on real estate business. Apart from this, on others, we have some other questions, which is, what is the strategic rationale to for continuing the engineering division of the company, given the volatile profitability? Secondly, can you please provide the details of 120 crore capex that is planned till 2022, and what would be the capacity post this expansion plan? And lastly, do you have any plan to demerge the real estate business? So these were my questions. Great if you can answer them point by point. That would be really helpful. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barjatia. The next shareholder is Mr. Himanshu Upadhyay.
Yeah, hello. Good afternoon. Am I audible?
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I have also sent a list of questions. Should I repeat those questions?
Yeah, the main ones, if you can repeat, so other shareholders will also know.
Okay. So, in surface chemical business, what percentage of our products would be customized product for a client and direct sales to the customers? Second, we have been increasing our R&D spend regularly, and it is bigger proportion of revenue than few years back, which is good for the long term. But how do you track the effectiveness of R&D spend you are doing? Also, what is the optimum level of spending on R&D you wish to do? Again, on effectiveness on R&D, what is the revenue from product developed in our own R&D? These questions are on surface treatment chemicals only. Can you elaborate on the size of surface finishing chemicals and treatment solutions in India and globally? What would be our domestic market share? With our existing products, to what extent of surface finishing market can we cater to? Are there any product gaps, and how do we expect to fill those product gaps? If manufacturing in India happens the way the government is saying, would not it be a big opportunity for us? And how are you looking, or how are we looking at the opportunities which will be there in the market? Last question on surface finishing. Would it be right to say the revenue for surface treatment chemicals fell in FY20? Have we lost any market share or large customer because we have been talking of high competition in the segment and hence revenue fell? So just on these things, and few questions on paints. Paints is an extremely competitive business with very large dominant players. What is our go-to market strategy and focus area in the paints? Are we trying to work in a niche segment or want to be in a decorative and home segment also? The growth in second question, the growth in paints business was remarkable at more than 40% and more than 50% in FY19. What was the reason for that, and what is the outlook you are seeing? Finally, have we gained new large B2B customers, or the growth is because of distribution growth and volume growth in paints business? And two general questions. What is business conducting or license fee of rupees 34 crore? Can you elaborate on that? And last question. Our exports have been not growing. What is the reason for that? Generally, for most companies, exports are higher margin business than domestic business. Is it not the case for us? And we have said that we want to be a global company. But how do we plan to achieve that if our exports do not grow or remain stagnant? These are my important questions which I felt. I have sent the list earlier. If you can reply to them point by point, it will be very helpful. Thank you from my side.
Thank you, Mr. Upadhyay. The next shareholder is Mr. Senthil Manikandan.
Mr. Senthil Manikandan is not there.
Okay, then we go to the next shareholder is Ms. Vasudha Vikas. Ms. Vasudha.
It's Vasudha Dakwe here, not Vasudha Vikas.
Okay, we can hear
Vasudha
you.
Vikas Dakwe, yeah, it's a perfect Vasudha Dakwe.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, ma'am, you can speak.
Very good afternoon, respected Chairman, sir, Board of Directors, and my fellow shareholders. Myself, Vasudha from Thane. I would also like to congratulate our company secretary for sending me the soft copy of the report well in advance, which itself is clear and transparent. I would like to ask, what is our current policy regarding our employees who are working from home as well as who are on contract basis or casual temporary basis? Are you planning to give them any layoff surplus, if any? Secondly, I would like to ask, when did the last bonus declare? With this, I support all the resolution. Thank you very much.
So next speaker is Mr. Anuj Sharma. May I unmute them?
Speaker is Mr. Anuj Sharma.
Yeah, hi.
Hello, Mr. Anuj.
Yeah, hi. Good afternoon. Am I audible? Hello.
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah, I have also sent a list of questions. I'll just talk about the key specific questions if you can discuss them in detail. And if you can answer rest of the questions point by point later on. So some of the key questions are generally, see, if we look at what percentage of the total metal finishing chemical market is from surface finishing, and as per some reports it's around 50%. So balance chemicals like conversion coating, cleaning chemical account for rest 50%, while our market share in surface finishing chemical is 32%. So what is our market share in our balance chemical segment? Secondly, on the surface chemicals business, if we look at it, metal finishing market globally is 11.5 billion and China is 2.5 billion, while Indian market size is less than 2%. So so why is it so small, around 0.15 billion dollars? And which are the key industries or segments in the surface finishing market which we cater to, and if we can give some breakup of revenue in terms of these segments for us. On the lubrication business, again, lubrication market is a very large market. So which areas do we plan to focus on? And of these segments like the chemicals, industrial paint and lubricants, in which segment we are most optimistic for next 3 to 5 years? And which all three segments have, while all the three segments have same end markets, chemical raw material are metal based while lubricants and paint RM are crude based. So how do we handle the RM volatility? On the engineering division, so who are basically our clients for this engineering division? Are they basically clients of the chemical business, which we cater to through our engineering division? Or if you can just help us understand a bit more on this. And lastly, on the mall side, what has been the rental arrangement with tenants for the first 6 months of FY21? And have we seen any churn because of the current lockdown? And what do you estimate the average occupancy for FY21? Lastly, we have a potential development plan of additional 1.9 million square feet. So what are the plans in terms of development? Would we wait for the situation to improve, or how is the management thinking about? And lastly, on CAPEX, this question has already been answered. So if you can help us understand the breakup of CAPEX and would it be deferred or not? That's all from my side.
Thank you, Mr. Sharma. The next speaker is Mr. Ajay Arora.
Hello. Hello. Yeah. Hi. Thank you, sir, for giving me the opportunity. My questions are almost similar to what my earlier speakers, fellow shareholders have asked. Just to add one more thing, I, as a shareholder, would like to know what can I expect my company to grow from here in next 3 to 4 years? What are the goals, internal goals that the management has kept, and where they plan to go? In which direction? What is the next line of growth engine for the company?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Arora. The next speaker is Mr. Vimal Sampath.
Vimal Sampath is not there.
Okay, the next speaker is Ms. Shobna Mehta.
She is also not there, sir.
Okay, the next speaker is Ms. Celestine Mascrianas.
Is also not there, sir.
Okay, the next one is Mrs. Sweeti Agarwal.
Miss Sweetie. Hello. Hello. Miss Sweetie. Hello. Miss Sweetie, can you hear me? Hello. Hello.
Okay, let's move to the next one. The next one is Mr. Varun Pang.
Mr. Varun.
Yes, thank you very much for the opportunity, sir. I have some 20 questions. I have already emailed them in advance, so you want me to repeat them?
Only if there are any new questions, because many questions have been already asked. Only if you have any new.
Sure, thank you. So the first question is, we are a solution provider to surface finishing industry. So how are our divisions finding synergies within themselves? Which resources are used in common? And what synergies you see in sales and promotion activities? Can you share your thoughts on synergies? Second question is, are our competitors also integrated like us? Third question, can you share opportunity size for us in the defense segment? Like we have received few approvals from various defense authorities in India. Now that we have approvals, what is the way forward for us in this segment? Fourth question is, we have also received approvals from global aerospace and automotive companies. So what is the way forward for us in the export market, given that we have got direct association with some of these big customers? Next question is, our direct exports have shown mediocre growth in over last few years. So are we looking to have customer-centric approach in the export market by having direct association with sizable customers, or we will continue with our plans of appointing distributors locally? And what is your thought process there? Sixth question is, we have a subsidiary in Shanghai to cater Chinese market. How cost competitive are we in comparison with local players in China? Seventh question is, we have done well in the domestic surface finishing segment. What is our strategy for exports? Like we have best in class technology, wide product portfolio. What challenges are you seeing when you are looking to expand into export market? Who is the second largest player in India in electropelting industry, and what is its market share? How far are we? How far is the second competitor in comparison to us in terms of their product SKU, technology, distribution reach, etc.? Next question is, in electropelting segment, we have huge dependence on automotive industry. How are we looking to reduce dependence on the same, and which other industries offer good growth prospects? And how are we positioned in those industries? We are leaders in this industry and we are competing with large MNCs. what challenges you foresee in sustaining our leadership where the competition is very stiff? Next question is, what is the role of distributor and or the sales partner in the business? Like, do they have very crucial role in driving the sales, or it is the product and technology which is very important? How price sensitive is the market, and like if petroleum prices go up sharply, how usually it how do we look to pass it on? Do we pass it on in a staggered manner, or how does it work? Next, next set of questions are on industrial paint segment. We put a lot of efforts in turning paints business around. We have fixed multiple issues. So now what is the way forward for us, and where is the growth coming from? Like the last 2 years, we have seen sharp improvement. What has worked in your view? How are we looking to differentiate in the market which is already consolidated? This is the same on the industrial paint segment. From our size perspective, which niche segments we are targeting to build sustainable business out of it? And how are we looking to better ROC in this segment? We used to report high margins and ROC in electropelting business, while paints used to be loss-making segment. And over last 2 years, since we have merged these two entities, how do we get clarity as to how on the individual level how these businesses are doing? Can you share as to how paints business is doing at operating level, and what kind of a ROC it is delivering? Next set of questions are on lubricants and oil segment. What are our strength areas in lubricant and oil segment? What is the market size, and how are we placed vis-a-vis competition? How has the collaboration with SIDA SA helped us in building products and growing the segment? Next question is on engineering division. How are we placed in engineering division where technology is ever changing? And if we see significant investments in manufacturing segment, would we be ready to participate in the same? How are we expanding the scope of the work that we do in engineering segment? And are we seeing surge in the inquiries right now? And what is the order book in this segment? With respect to land size, what is the total free land that we currently own in Chembur, Kandivali, and at the Pune bottling? I think this has been asked already. And what is the estimated value of the land which we have? And what is the capital allocation policies in developing this land? How much capital are you ready to put in developing these assets? How is our mall position today, especially after COVID episode? Are tenants negotiating on rentals? And how are we dealing with the situation? What is the scope of expansion at Grovell Mall? And at what point you will think of expansion? The last question is, we are a diversified group. Now going into future, how are we planning capital allocation in the every segment? Because every segment will have its requirement. Real estate seems to be capital intensive initially, and then it's like a cash cow. How are we internally planning the capital allocation? That's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bang. Can we try Mr. Yusuf Rangwala again? He had technical difficulties joining earlier.
Yes, I will try again.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir. Can you hear my voice?
Yes, we can. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Sir, I am very thankful to our dynamic Chintan Gandhi, sir, who is a very dynamic, hardworking, and very to our company, sir. We are having a very do Anmol Ratan just like a guy, so with us, sir. Sir, as you mentioned in the chairman speech, our color pen, which we are not getting a good profit. Sir, last year when we visit was there, sir, sometime I miss. So my humble request in coming after this COVID-19 to Silvassa plan. So I am the shareholder. I am the oldest shareholder in my older family are the with you, sir. आपका इतना अच्छा कंपनी सर, एक मेरे को हम्बल रिक्वेस्ट है, लिंक प्राइवेट अपना शेयर है, एजेंट है, तो आप लिंक वाले को ही दीजिए, कोई लिंक वाले जो रिटर्न है ऐसा तकलीफ नहीं होता है. आज सर मुझे ज्वाइन करने में बहुत दिक्कत हुआ, को आपका लिंक CDSL में था सर. मेरा हम्बल रिक्वेस्ट है सर, CDSL जो है वो भी अच्छी सर्विस देते हैं, लेकिन क्या वो लिंक मेरा क्या होगा, मेरा नेटवर्क चला गया था सर, इसके लिए मैं आपसे नहीं बात कर सका. सर कोविड-19 में अपना फैक्ट्री में क्या इफेक्ट हुआ, कोई एनी कोई डैमेज, कुछ पब्लिक को कुछ एनीबडी इफेक्टेड, और सर अपना ग्रोवर वैल्यू का सर अपना जो 4 महीना बंद था उससे कुछ इफेक्ट हुआ? ऐसा ऐसा बहुत जगह पे सर ऐसा हुआ कि अगर समझिए जिसको आपने भाड़े पे दिया तो वो आदमी आपको भाड़ा नहीं देता है, ऐसा अपने को कुछ फेस हुआ सर? को मेरा एक नोबिटला में बिल्डिंग है, वहाँ पे सब ऐसा ही फेस होता है, मतलब आपने टेनेंट को दिया तो टेनेंट आपका भाड़ा नहीं देते सर, ऐसा अपने को कुछ ग्रोवेल में कुछ तकलीफ हुआ सर? और तो मुझे जानना चाहता हूँ कि चिंतन सर जो है वो अपना बहुत अच्छे से फ्रेंडली है और कभी भी सर फोन करो तो हमको सर बहुत हेल्प करते हैं, उनके जैसे सर सेक्रेटरी होके अपनी कंपनी सर बहुत ऊंची आ गई सर। हम तो सर आपसे सर आज तो कितनी कंपनी सर, लेकिन आपसे सर मैं नहीं ज्वाइन कर सकता तो मेरे दिल में सर आंसू बह रहे थे, लेकिन आपसे सर ज्वाइन हुआ तो मुझे सर बहुत खुशी हो रहा है और मैं अल्लाह के पास दुआ करता हूँ अपनी कंपनी के लिए फूल और अच्छे से गए। और बस सर मैं आपसे धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूँ कि बस आपके गाइडेंस में सर आप इतनी अच्छी कंपनी और आप चलाते हैं सर अपना। और कहाँ पे कुछ नया कुछ प्लान सर कुछ जानना है और अपना सर कुछ फैक्ट्री के बारे में कुछ बताइए, तो बस सर मैं आपसे विदा लेना चाहता हूँ। थैंक यू वेरी मच सर, जय हिंद एंड सर जय महाराष्ट्र सर।
Thank you, Mr. Rangwala. Can we try Ms. Sweetie Agarwal again? She also had technical difficulty earlier.
Yes, I will try again. Hello, Miss Sweetie. Hello. Hello. Hello, Miss Sweetie.
Okay, looks like we are having difficulty in joining with her. That completes all the shareholders who are registered with us as speakers. Over to the chairman again.
Hello.
It's okay. It's okay. Let's move on. So over to the chairman again. Host, if you can unmute this shareholder whose voice.
Yeah, now can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, very interesting questions coming from shareholders, obviously from the interesting lot. So what I will request is Mr. Neeraj Moore is handling the entire proceeds of the meeting. But my suggestion is that on different verticals of the company, that is the general metal finishing, the paints, the engineering, we have the people heading these divisions with us. And I would first like that they answer the respective questions. Neeraj, please monitor and steer this the way you want. But this is my suggestion to you. In case there is anything which is related to the overall corporate working, etc., one of us, Mr. Vinod Dharitwal or me, depends on when the question comes, we'll handle it. So, Neeraj, over to you.
Amen. And thank you to all our shareholders. As we see during the course of the interaction, I'm very happy to say that a lot of our shareholders are indeed interested in the working of the company. There have been some very relevant questions asked on all the 5 verticals. You will not be able to complete it because we're currently having problems.
Has broken down because all the pictures have gone blank. Also in your case?
Yeah,
So the
everyone's
system has gone down, I think.
Vinodji, hello.
Neeraj, we can hear you.
Vinodji, can you?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
So the questions that were put forth. Is Yogesh there on the panel with us?
Neeraj, you'll have to repeat because your voice is breaking. Neeraj.
Yeah, Yogesh. So what I had requested is that since the questions were asked, maybe on chemical division, you could take it up, and Vinodji could take up the questions on the mall and the paints division.
Okay, fine. I'll request Mr. Yogesh Samath to deal with the chemical questions relating to the chemical business first.
Good afternoon to all. There were a number of questions. Am I audible? Yeah, good afternoon to all. There were a number of questions which were raised regarding the chemicals business. I will run through each one of them. Many of them were actually overlapping, so I will run through the individual questions, and then if anything left over, it can be addressed separately. So one of the first few questions was the size of the market for the surface finishing chemicals business. That, as we have mentioned earlier also in the meetings as well, is between 1,000 and 1,200 crores. There are two main competitors that we have in the business, which is one of the questions that was asked, which is essentially Atrotech and Artec. Our segment turnover is visible in our balance sheet, and it's easy to figure out that we are dominant players in the market. There are a number of smaller competitors for which exact figures are not known. The market is essentially a mature market, and the growth rate, as we can foresee in the futures, is in the low single digits because it is largely a mature market. One of the questions that was asked also was regarding the what are the kind of product gaps which are there in this market. By and large, Growell products cater to most of the available segments in the market. We have neither lost market share in the last 1 or 2 years, nor have we lost any large customer in the recent past to any of our competitors. So the market is pretty stable and has stayed that way for some time. One question that was asked was what is the extent of how do we reduce our dependence on the auto segment, and what is the other segments that are available? About a predominant portion of our customers tend to be the auto segment, but we also have now got customers from the real estate, which is the bathroom fitting industry, the electronics, the textile, and fasteners, wire industry. So we have a large number of industries that actually use our products and not just the auto segment. That is as far as the market is concerned. Now we come to the point that was raised regarding exports as to what is the plan that we have in terms of exports. The exports market has been reasonably steady. It's very hard to make out and give an estimate as to how it will shape up in time to come, especially post-COVID. So our orders have been coming back to normalcy, though it will continue to be a challenge because the market is very fluid at this point of time for both metal finishing as well as for the other products. One of the questions that was raised was regarding in case of it was segment wise turnovers and sales. There are actually multiple segments which are very, very small, so it's very difficult to actually attribute individual segment wise turnovers for the market. We tend to look at the market as a whole. Most of the competitors we have are being addressed by us as a whole rather than by individual segments. And surface finishing chemicals is about 50%, and the balance is in conversion coating and cleaning chemicals. So that's really how our market is shaped up. The one of the questions raised by Mr. Varun Banga was the role of distributor and sales partner in the selling process, and to what extent product and technology makes an impact in our business, which is also related to the question that was raised, which is what are the manner in which we are able to fight off competition. Since the metal finishing business is to a large extent approval driven, almost all our business is done through distributors and sales, our sales team, it's a very technical selling method, and product and technology tends to play a significant role in our business, and therefore they tend to form natural entry barriers in terms of, because if a competitor needs to get into our market, then there has to be an approval process with the company. Likewise, if we need to get into some other segment, we need to address some other prospect of ours, then there is a whole approval process that needs to be gone through, and therefore there are natural barriers to shifts in market share which don't happen so rapidly as in many other organizations or industries.
Thank you, Yogesh. I'll try and address the remaining questions. May not be in the same order as they were asked, but I'll try and cover them all. About the impact of COVID on the business, we were shut only for 1 month, not for 4 months, as somebody asked. We were shut for the month of April. From end of April, beginning May, the factories and the branches started opening up as lockdown got slowly eased. May, we achieved almost 39% of our turnover, and this has been growing every month fairly quickly. In the month of September, we are going to cross 100%, which means we would be registering a positive growth compared to September of 2019. There was a question about the subsidiary in Shanghai. The subsidiary that we have in Shanghai is not operating for the last 4 years. That subsidiary was closed down, although the subsidiary still exists, but our operations now are directly from India through distributors. The question about capital expenditure plan of 120 crores. Now, in the year 2018, we had announced this capital expenditure plan of 120 crores. The main part of that was expansion of the mall. Given the current situation, the expansion of the mall, as well as setting up a new factory that was envisaged for the paint division, both have been shelved for the time being. So we don't expect that capital expenditure of that order currently. We will review the situation at the end of the year, and maybe by next AGM, we should be able to inform you about the revised capital expenditure plan. Engineering division, yes, a large part of the engineering business is strategic in the sense it is linked to chemical business. The equipment is mainly supplied to the customers who buy also chemicals from us. So in a way, it works as a combined sale that we supply the plant first and then you supply the chemicals. So they're quite closely linked. But there is business beyond the customers in India. The focus for growth in engineering will be exports. We are fairly actively pursuing opportunities in Egypt, Jordan, UAE, Qatar, the Middle East, and its neighboring countries. The Chembur property that we have, currently there is no plan to develop that property. We have about 2.5 acres of surplus land there, but we have no plans right now of developing that property. If there is an opportunity, we may monetize that. Paints, the strategy that we have adopted, which is responsible for turning it around, number one, and for substantially high level of growth sustained for the last 3 years, has been that we have focused on niche industrial segments, mainly in the area of infrastructure. Infrastructure is one area where there is no slowdown in the last 3-4 years, and we don't see a slowdown even going forward. We have, again, what we have done is we have taken sub-segment at a time, and each sub-segment we have gained a strong position and then added one more sub-segment. So we are expanding on both levels, a very aggressive approach vis-a-vis that segment, and then constantly adding new sub-segments as we go along. Our strength there compared to competition is that we are very quick on our service, we have the right products, and we are offering the right price. In terms of outlook, we still see this division growing fairly well for the next few years. At this point in time, there is no plan to go into retail decorative paint, although we will add decorative paints to our portfolio, but those will be specialized decorative paints for institutional sales. On the return on capital employed in paints, from a negative return on capital employed 3 years back, we are now at about 75% of the industry average. It's growing every year, and by next year we expect to be at the same level as the industry. As far as the mall is concerned, post-COVID, I'm glad to inform that except for the stores which are not allowed to operate, which is the theater and the restaurants so far, all other retail stores except for 2 have restarted operations. The operation started on 5th of August. We started with low numbers, obviously, but we have now reached a level of about 40% of the revenue of last year for corresponding period. And if you look at only the operational area, almost about 50%. Yes, for the lockdown period, except for the maintenance costs, most tenants have not paid the lease rental. Most of the deals have been renegotiated up to March, where generally they have been converted to revenue share instead of guaranteed return. So now there will be a strong linkage to sale from the mall to our returns. As I said, the expansion plan of the mall has been shelved for the time being. The new DCPR that was announced by the Municipal Corporation of Bombay 2 years back offers us an opportunity to develop up to 1.9 million square feet, and currently we are at about 4,500,000 square feet. So the opportunity is very large, but we have no plans of making that large an investment in one go. We will address it as we go along. Defense, yes. Traditionally, defense business was in government sector, where procurement was based on lowest cost bidder. So we have had business in the past with defense, both in the engineering division, we have supplied plants, we have supplied chemicals, we have supplied paints, mainly for aircrafts, missiles, rockets, satellites, guns, etc. However, now that the defense production is getting privatized, we see a greater opportunity going forward. Most of the private operations are still in the phase of either firming up or being established. So it may not result into concrete business right away. Our focus right now is on taking more and more approvals so that as and when the opportunities materialize, we capitalize on them. Same is the case with aviation. There was no business in the past, but in the last decade or so, quite a few factories have been set up in India that either manufacture components or even a couple of MROs have come up. We have been successful in obtaining approvals from many of them, but the opportunities right now are still not very large. As the opportunities keep arising, we will be definitely able to capitalize on them. Raw material sensitivity, yes, our chemical business is more sensitive to metal prices rather than the petroleum prices, but our paint and lubricant business is sensitive to petroleum prices. Generally, in all the three industries, changes in the main raw material get passed on to the customers, but obviously it is with a lag effect. It doesn't happen immediately. It takes some time, but generally it gets passed on. The passing over of the raw material rates in chemicals is faster because the share of distributors in that sale is much higher. The collaboration that we had with Sidasa for lubricants helped us in the beginning. Most of the products we introduced in the beginning were those from Sidasa, but thereafter we have developed a lot of our own products. The current business comprises more of our own products rather than Sidasa. And our collaboration with Sidasa currently has expired and we have not gone for renewal. In the next 3 to 5 years, which businesses do we see growing? Chemical is a mature business and we are market leaders. So since we are market leaders in a mature business, we will grow only at the same rate as the industry grows, which is expected to be closer to the GDP rate as such. A larger growth can be expected in the paint business, where, as I said, our focus is on infrastructure sector, which is going to grow very well. And we are adding more and more subsegments. Engineering business is closely linked to chemicals, so the growth in engineering can be similar as chemical. Lubricants, again, is a very large potential business. Our market share is very small right now. So we can look forward to a much larger and much stronger growth in the lube business. It's very difficult to estimate at this point in time what the sales in 3 years down the line would be, given the fluidity in the economic conditions right now. But if the economic conditions resolve, we can look forward to a substantial growth in the next 3 to 5 years. I think that addresses most of the questions. If there is any question that is left out, you can email it to us and we will try and respond to you separately. Over to you, Neeraj. Neeraj, you need to unmute.
Thank you, Mr. Artwal. Thank you, Mr. Samath. As if there are any questions left out, please do send it to us and we'll get them answered separately.
Thanks, Neeraj. To whatever has been stated by our senior members, our board of members, Mr. Haritwal, as well as Mr. Samath. Generally, I would like to add that the outlook for our company in the near future, with its various verticals that we have, I think is basically quite strong, except for this COVID situation, which seems to be which we are facing, there is a little bit of uncertainty, but hopefully this will sort itself out in the next 3 to 4 months. And then we should be well on track. Of course, in the real estate division, as Mr. Haritwal said, it is difficult to predict anything because the markets are very volatile. But in our manufacturing sections, there could be a little less growth in one, more growth in the other, but as a package, I believe that the company is on a very strong footing, and that's very consoling to all of us. Now, I'm hoping that this has answered most of the important questions which were raised by different shareholders. In any case, if some of them do remain unanswered, then please write to us. We'll be more than happy to give you specific answers on the subjects which may not have been replied to right away. With this, we come to the end of this meeting. I declare this meeting as closed. Thank you all the shareholders for attending and sharing your views with us. E-voting will continue for the next 15 minutes and will be disabled thereafter. Shareholders are requested to exercise their right to vote. The result will be posted on the website of the company and uploaded on the website of BSE later on. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks to all the panel as well as all our shareholders. And good evening.
Hello, everyone. I'm just going to close this session. So, anyone wants to do, you can take a moment. Thank you so much.